sending the opening crawl once again.
This is where we snuff out the resistance once and for all.
How do all the makeup people keep forgetting to put on his twirlable mustache?
Jeremy thinks mustache twirly villains are new to Star Wars. Ever heard of the Senate?
Work your magic!
BB-8's magic quickly devolves into an electric version of the boy plugging the wall from that one ancient fable I've forgotten the name of.
While I agree, you misspelled BB-8.
Disengage now, Commander. That is an order.
Rabble, rabble, you taught your dress. Rabble, rabble, face is a mess.
Well, that might be the worst Jeremy sings in video cliche that I've ever heard. The cliche is worth 15 cents, but this time, you get double.
There's no gravity in space. Hold on. I know I've screwed this up before, so let's try this again. There is no force that would cause these bombs to simply fall straight down onto the dreadnought like how gravity works on Earth.
Hey, good on you. You actually acknowledged you made a mistake when you said there's no gravity in space. But this is Star Wars. Space has always been really wonky and not scientifically accurate. And heck, we can even explain this by saying that artificial gravity inside the bomber caused the bombs to fall, and when they reached space, there was nothing to slow them down.
Wait, you mean Luke didn't just stare at Rey and the lightsaber for 25 minutes like he did at the end of The Force Awakens?
Yes, he did. This probably happened after those 25 minutes.
This moment completely undermines the ending of The Force Awakens, and does so for a throwaway joke. Yes, Luke has given up on the Force at this point, but you don't need this gag to sell it. He can hand it back to her solemnly and accomplish the same thing story-wise, but you wanted to subvert audience expectations. A disease that infects this entire film, actually.
Do you really think this weird, grumpy version of Luke would hand Rey the lightsaber?
You think that I came to the most unfindable place in the galaxy for no reason at all?
No, but I do wonder why you left a f***ing map to this unfindable place if you didn't want to be found.
Oh my gosh, Jeremy, 2 years later and you still don't get it? Luke didn't make the map. It was made from archived maps that the Resistance and the First Order gathered up.
Leia sent me here with hope.
But not Empire or Jedi? Jeez. Just imagine going on a trip with only A New Hope and Mr. Megorium's Wonder Emporium.
Well, I can sort of understand not including Menace or clones. I would have at least brought Sith as well.
They found us.
That's impossible.
This comes seconds after Leia showed off her fancy homing beacon Apple Watch. Seconds.
Okay.
Can we jump to lightspeed?
We have enough fuel resources for just one jump.
Fuel? Is this the first mention of the concept of fuel in Star Wars? I sure don't remember Han in the original trilogy ever having to worry about fuel, certainly not for jumps to lightspeed. And Rey just took the Falcon supposedly halfway around the universe looking for Luke. But this ship only has enough fuel for one more jump? Jesus.
Well, first of all, no. This is not the first time Star Wars has mentioned the concept of fuel. The Birdman already mentioned every example in the first 6 movies, so I'll just point out the first ever instance of it. That being in the very first Star Wars movie. X-Wings are being fueled up right here. This is simply the first time fuel's been used to affect the plot. What's even more frustrating is that over on CinemaSins, they send Star Wars TV shows with this fuel thing as if Last Jedi created this problem when it's been around since the franchise's literal inception.
Unnecessary spinning.
But it's a good trick.
What is the point of all this if we can't blow up 3 tiny cruisers?
Hux would be excellent at CinemaSins.
They're faster and lighter, sir. They can't lose us, but they can keep at a range where our cannons are ineffective against their shields.
Infuriating writing right here. Suddenly, and for the first time in all of Star Wars, ships struggle to catch up to other ships, depend on fuel, have limited jumps to light speed, have impulse speed based in part on their weight, all so we can have some kind of near but far ballet of characters.
Wasn't the whole plot of Episode 5 the Empire trying to chase the Rebels, they struggled to chase after them, and their hyperspace wasn't working? You just listed a couple of things that have happened in this saga before.
They won't last long burning fuel like this.
God damn it, I have pinpointed the moment I gave up on modern Star Wars movies, and it was the fuel. It was the f***ing fuel.
This was the moment?
It takes until The Last Jedi for these movies to actually show Leia doing something with the Force other than telepathic communication.
Agreed, but how's that a sin for this movie?
That's Admiral Holdo? Battle of Chiron Belt, Admiral Holdo?
Dude, how do you not know what such a famous person looks like? Star Wars is weird. It's like a long time ago in a galaxy far away. But they have super advanced space travel and weapons technology, yet no one's invented the photograph.
I find this believable. Like I said in my New Hope video, the technology in Star Wars is simply different from ours. Just because they have advanced tech doesn't mean they have everything that we have in the real world.
What are you doing here?
Hello everyone, meet Rose. Rose is an escape pod guard. It's as if you can't just lock up the escape pod bay and require high-level access keycards to get in.
But even if that's possible, won't you still want someone down there just in case? Technology can't solve everything.
Holy she stunned him without even giving him 1 second to explain. After just fangirling over him. She has no chill.
Narration.
If I must be the sole voice of reason, Admiral Holdo will never agree to this plan.
I hate you.
Hating on C-3PO.
Could I do it? Of course I could do it, but I can't do it.
Yeah, sure. I make this easy, right? Real life doesn't have easy answers, but a nice simple plan using Maz is exactly what this movie needed. And instead the plot will divert to a whole other planet and make this movie just as long as Transformers: The Last Night.
Really? You're sinning the movie for making the situation more complicated so the characters have to figure out different solutions? Isn't that exactly what makes the Mission Impossible movies so thrilling? Also mispronouncing Maz's name.
You're not doing this. The effort would kill you.
Foreshadowing. Sorry, that pun was pretty forced. Oh, I can't even force myself to stop!
Do you see what I was talking about in my Hunchback video? You make dumb puns like this all the time.
Holy did we just stumble into the Dark Crystal?
Arbitrary movie reference.
I was cleaning my blaster, it went off.
This is exactly the excuse I would tell my ex-girlfriend whenever she caught me masturbating.
How did I know you would make this exact kind of joke?
Who were those things?
Caretakers. Island natives. They've kept up the Jedi structure since they were built.
Do they live forever? Are there male caretakers here, or do they reproduce with spores?
That is not a sin. That is a question. Jeremy must learn the difference between questions and sins.
No one will be seated during the climb up Kung Fu Panda mountain staircase.
Hey, at least we got some awesome scenery because of this. Also, arbitrary movie reference.
You went straight to the dark.
Yeah, but you made your exile camp on top of a Jedi temple that was built on top of the dark, so...
I wouldn't say that's the problem. It'd more so be why Luke was so surprised by this. Yoda explained to him that the dark side is quicker, easier, and more seductive. Luke even experienced some of that when he left to go save his friends on Cloud City. Of course Rey would immediately go there.
You called me a monster.
You are a monster.
Seriously, the most compelling this movie gets is these strange Force time calls between Rey and Kylo. But instead of exploring that further, it's just being used as a reason to let them fight together for one scene later and then be enemies again.
Yeah, but you know there's a whole nother movie, right? And that movie even takes this Force time stuff further by having them teleport lightsabers to each other.
Maz said this Master Codebreaker would have a red plum bloom on his lapel.
Because she knew he would never change his jacket or shirt.
Not removing a sin for the awesome John Williams music for Canto Bight.
Gotta tell ya, these discount horse things just took me right out of the movie. Right out of the universe of Star Wars. They are so out of place here, I'm expecting to see the USS Enterprise.
What? These things took you out of Star Wars? Is it just because they're discount horses? There have been plenty of these kinds of creatures in Star Wars before. You ever heard of Tauntauns? Oh yeah, you literally acknowledged them in your Empire Strikes Back video.
I wish I could put my fist through this whole lousy, beautiful town.
And film it and upload it to Pornhub.
Thanks for that.
BB hate.
Thanks for that.
Unless you got a thief in your pocket, our plan is shot. I can direct.
Finn and Rose just happen to get thrown into the cell where the Collector is, and yeah, he knows how to do this that they need done. Why not? I mean, after all, Maz told us only one person in the universe could do it, so stumbling on another person shouldn't be too hard. It's amazing how far this movie went to make a throwaway joke.
The Force works in mysterious ways.
Stop enjoying this! Stop enjoying this!
Oh, Finn, I am decidedly not enjoying this.
Jeremy yells at the screen cliche.
Our ship's on the beach! Straight ahead!
Does he think she's controlling this f***ing thing? Wait, is the movie saying she is controlling it?
Yes.
Heroes nearly fall off a cliff and slide right to the edge of their deaths cliche.
Jeremy still doesn't know what cliche means cliche.
Need a left?
I guess Disney is on a quest to cast Benicio del Toro in as many of their franchises as possible in roles that seem more important at first than they really are.
DJ is important in this movie. He literally tells the First Order about the Resistance's plan, and that causes them to fire on them.
Let me see them. My parents. Please.
Rian Johnson, Star Wars troll. You can now roll the footage from A Few Good Men here.
You want answers!
I want the truth! You can't handle the truth!
Arbitrary movie reference.
I thought I'd find answers here.
So did I. But hey, at least you found some mirrors.
Yelling at the screen again.
If I go to him, Ben Solo will turn.
She seems super sure about this after spending basically the entire movie whining about how she doesn't know anything about the Force and what's going on inside.
Did you miss the part where Ben told her that Luke attacked him while in his bed? And the fact that Luke turned Vader all those years ago, Ben is Vader's grandson, so turning Ben back seems probable? I mean, come on, pay attention.
Yoda? And Ghost Yoda waited a long motherfucking time to make another appearance.
Agreed, but how is that a sin for this movie?
Also, Yoda looks like an actor who actually died in real life, and then they found archive footage to put him into this movie.
Sinning puppet Yoda.
If Ghost Jedi can do this, then they should have been a lot more helpful in the last two trilogies.
Actually, they can't do this. at least not on most planets. Act 2 contains the first Jedi temple, and that's because it is extremely strong with the Force, which allows Force ghosts to do more things here.
But that library contained nothing that the girl Rey does not already possess.
Grammatically, this is a clever way of disguising whether or not the library itself and the text therein were ever actually important.
Or it's a reference to the fact that Rey stole the text and has them inside the Falcon right now. You know, as revealed at the end of this movie.
Tell us that we have a plan. That there's hope.
I swear to fuzzy Zeus on a cracker, if one more person says hope, I'm going to lose my shit. Star Wars movies are hereby forbidden from ever again using the word hope. If you cast soccer player Hope Solo in a movie, you better change her name in the credits. I'm serious.
Did Jeremy just send a Star Wars movie for being a Star Wars movie? Because, yeah, hope has been a theme throughout all these movies. Not only was the first movie called A New Hope, the prequels ended with the bad guys winning, but still leaving room open for the good guys to fight back, aka hope. This movie gets a lot of things wrong, but this is not one of those things.
But we're on our way back to the fleet.
How in the hell are they having this radio conversation while in Lightspeed?
Are you serious? You questioned earlier why the photograph hasn't been invented in Star Wars because of how advanced the technology is, and now you're asking how radio conversations during Lightspeed are possible?
Clear the bridge. Escort the officers down to the hangar.
This movie totally rips off Crimson Tide here in the middle of the third act, and I'm pretty sure it's just to stretch the runtime of an already bloated movie.
Arbitrary movie reference.
I see him turning the lightsaber to strike true.
While this turns into one of the movie's signature scenes, I've got to wonder about the nature of this action. Snoke can obviously sense Kylo's intentions, so how is he able to tell Snoke he intends to kill Rey while making a deliberate action to kill him at the same time without being found out?
Kylo isn't telling Snoke that he's going to kill Rey. Snoke can simply sense Kylo turning a lightsaber, and he doesn't realize that's referring to the lightsaber on his armrest.
Awesome! Even remove a Sinworthy. But who the f*** was Snoke? We built this guy up throughout the first movie, and now we're killing him near the end of the second one without an ounce of explanation as to where he came from.
Well, now we know he's a clone of Palpatine or something. Hey, I didn't say it was a good explanation.
By the way, whatever happened to the Knights of Ren? Didn't they exist? Weren't they a thing in The Force Awakens? Where the f*** did they go?
Despite complaining that this movie is over-bloated, Jeremy still asks for the Knights of Ren to be here.
Holy f***.
No! You removed the sins for this? I'm not even mad that this works the way it does, but if ships can do this, doesn't that make some of the space battles worthless since it's apparently this easy?
Oh yeah, there's also a bunch of ice walls on this planet. It's like the brainstorming session where no suggestion is mocked somehow became the actual writer's room.
What's wrong with ice walls? Aren't we on an alien planet? Shouldn't we expect, you know, aliens?
King Rose. Why the f*** did she do this? He's about to sacrifice himself to save hundreds of people, and she does this. If she was going to do something that was going to potentially end her own life, why didn't she just crash headfirst into the cannon instead of preventing Finn from doing it? Now you f***ed everybody, Rose. I hope you're happy.
Finn's ship was being torn apart as he was flying. Who knows how much damage it would have actually done. Rose knew this and was saving him from sacrificing his life for nothing. The real sin is, how did Rose get over there so fast?
He's stalling so we can escape.
It sure would have been nice for Luke to tell them that before he went out to confront Kylo. Maybe even tell them where some exits are. Or hell, maybe even help create an exit, since apparently Jedi are like God now. But I guess having Poe figure it out for himself and figuring Rey would come to save the day was good enough.
Did you just suggest that Luke could create an exit while being a Force projection? He's not really here and he can't touch anything. How can he possibly do that? And yeah, Luke knows that Rey will come to help them. This is him rediscovering his faith in people that he lost.
Well, I guess we need to read the big book of Jedi tricks that have never been in one movie up until now, 7th edition, to understand how Luke is projecting himself light years away from this spot.
You really need an explanation for how this works? It's the Force, dude. It's literal space magic.
So the bracelet or necklace or whatever that Luke gave Leia was also a hologram, even though it looks and acts like a physical thing, and I have a number of questions about it. But Luke died like 3 minutes ago. But I guess this explains why we lose 21 holograms when we die.
Jeremy doesn't understand these scenes happening at the same time cliché.
Luke Skywalker, Jedi Master.
How the f*** did they hear this story already?
I would assume there's a bit of a time jump that we didn't see.
Casual Jediing.
And some more pointing things out on the screen. But also, there were actually quite a few sins that I agreed with in this video, so I'm gonna end by removing 5 sins.
Somehow Palpatine returned.